Welcome fucking back, bitches. I am really excited about this episode. I know so many of my clients are listening to our podcast every single week. A lot of you guys are business owners. A lot of you guys are looking to scale on social media or start to get on social media or build a brand or become an influencer. I mean, I would love to get free Ralph Lauren every single fucking week. So sign me up for that at some point. But I am bringing on my client this week. Her name is Alaysha Linden, and she runs Linden Co. She does social media management, also now integrating kind of a consultant firm energy into her business, which is so exciting. She is such an incredible strategist. She knows a lot about social media. She's been doing this for 7 years, and she is going to be talking a lot today about strategies and things you can be implementing to be more intentional with the way that you guys are creating content. I hear all the time that people are burnt out on content. They feel like it's super competitive. It feels really heavy. I think a lot of you guys assume it's extremely expensive. If you guys really want to invest in social media managers, so we talk about her journey of becoming a social media manager, how the landscape has changed over the last couple of years, and some of her top priorities. She actually lists 3 of them that you guys should be thinking about and prioritizing if you want to be able to grow on social fast, if you want to get insane visibility, if you want to start building an incredible community, and if you want to start thinking about conversion. Because I know a lot of you all are on social media and creating content to make money, to be able to grow, to be able to scale your businesses. So we cover it all. So this episode is going to be insanely valuable to you if you have a business, if you want to understand social media more, if you want to understand what it looks like to work with a social media manager, and you want some actionable tips and tricks that you can literally go take with you today to start to be more intentional about the way that you're getting in front of new people, getting more sales from your content, and also just fucking enjoying the content creation process so much more than I know you guys are right now. So with that, enjoy the episode. Alaysha, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I am super freaking pumped. I'm excited to talk about marketing today. You and I both love marketing. But before we get into that, because obviously people don't know who you are, I heard from a little birdie, aka little you 3 seconds ago, based on your astrology chart that you put into ChatGPT, that this is going to be a very rich, wealthy year for you. What's your plan to make it the richest, wealthiest, most wonderful year ever?
Honestly, I feel like it's just a big shift in energy for me, and it's a mental game for me because when I talk to other business owners, I talk to business coaches, I talk to you, I talk to ChatGPT, I talk to like all the people, all the things, and I look at my business, I'm like, I have everything. I have the systems, I have the back end figured out. I'm using the software I should, and my work is good. Like I have it dialed in. I really feel like the only thing that is not clicking for me or hasn't clicked for me in the past is like a mindset issue. It's a mindset issue. It's just like shifting my energy and probably my sales process a little bit, like just, a little bit of like messaging and positioning and my sales calls like skills. But I would say like majority of the work is going to be mindset and energy work.
It's so often when I talk to business owners, it's like, they're always like, strategy, I can help with this, this, and this. And then later I'm like, you just need to like get out of your own fucking head, which is 90%. Also, you're coming on in the next year to becoming a 30-year-old new kind of decade of your life, which means that you started your business at how old? Very young.
Like 21, 22.
Okay. Can you give us like the date? Like, did you always want to start a business? What was the vision? How did you get into this? Because I think a lot of times people envision them starting a business owner, but a lot of people don't start until much later, or they start and then they completely pivot because they don't like it. The fact that you started a business in your early 20s and are still doing that now, almost entering in a year, I'm not rushing you, but a year in your 30s, like that's very rare that someone sticks with the same business. So like, what was that process of getting started?
So I went to school to be a wedding planner because I am a type A. So I was like, I can organize a wedding, no problem. And then I did that for 2 years, like school. And then I realized I didn't want to work every Saturday in the summer. So I was like, let's cut that. I also like my bosses have always loved me, but I just like don't like having a boss. I'm very like, you're going to tell me when I can take time off. I think not. Like that's just not the way I'm going to live my life. So right out of university, I was online. This is 2017. I was looking for ways to work online and everyone was just like, start a blog, start a blog, start a blog, start a blog. And I just did not resonate with that at all. Like I didn't feel pulled to it. It did nothing for me. And so I just kind of forgot about it. And then I was interning with a local wedding vendor. The wedding industry is pretty big in my area. So she was like a wedding cake baker. And I was like doing her social media as an afterthought. It was like, oh, can you like also do my social media while you're helping me with all these other events? And I was like, yeah, sure, I can do that. And so I started doing it. I started teaching myself. And pretty soon people were asking her who was doing her social media, because this is like way before social medias were common and agencies were common. And it was kind of like people were like, why does your Instagram look so good? And she's like, oh, my intern's doing it. And so they were like, well, could she do mine too? And that's sort of how it happened. It kind of snowballed. And that person, that wedding vendor, she ended up sort of like almost business coaching me a little bit. Like she really guided me and showed me how to start a business. Like she helped me register my business name and like all that kind of stuff that I think is what prevents people from starting a business. They think like, oh, I have to do all of these like technical setup things that are actually like super easy. And she helped me through that. And so it just sort of snowballed from there. Like a lot of it started with word of mouth. I also like in the beginning was a huge networker. I was like network, network, network. I did tons of in-person like events and networking groups. And that was huge for getting my business started. And I feel and see the vision for it, which is why I've continued. And I'm a Capricorn, so I'm like slow and steady climbing the mountain, very much like my energy. So I think it's just been a matter of like the quotes of, really successful people saying, if you just stay in the game, you'll get ahead, because so many people quit. That quote stuck with me. And I'm just like, it's inevitable that I will win if I just stay in the game. And I can say that like I've seen so many social media managers come and go that I'm just like, just stay in the game, just stay in the game.
That makes complete sense. And I was actually going to ask you, because what's interesting is when I started getting on TikTok and kind of beginning my own business, I guess now 3 years ago, the amount of people that were like, get into social media management, get like, that was like the kind of career path before the like MRR and the like selling the course type thing. I feel like the online, like what you should do as a business owner, everyone was pushing social media management. But I feel like that's been more over the last couple years. When you were getting started, where were you promoting? Like Instagram, or what other platforms were you utilizing? Instagram?
Yep, I was on Instagram, and again, just like local networking groups. And the town that I live in is there's 100,000 people, very like small town community feeling, very support local businesses, support small businesses. So this is before like news got banned in Canada, but I don't know if you know that like we don't get to see news on our social media anymore. There's like local papers and stuff that would do articles and blogs on local business owners. So I had a few of those that I did. I also was the social media manager for like Kelowna Women in Business, which is a huge networking group in the town next to me. I was able to MC a lot of like huge events through that. And, I think my personality is people are like, they're like drawn to me a little bit, I think. So, that was a good way for me to just get in front of people.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, when they want to go start a business, their like initial gut is like, I have to get a lot of experience in order to be valuable. Like it's like that traditional 9 to 5 corporate life of like, you have to get experience in order to like go get a job. And people are like, wait, but then how do I get experience? And I feel like for you, it kind of like one kind of came naturally, but was it the networking that you were like, I'm just an avid networker, I'm going to go out and get business? Like you just didn't give a shit. You were hungry. Like, did you have a lot of imposter syndrome going on? Like, how do you kind of get your business off of the ground? Do you feel like you got in your own way, or you're just like, I'm just going to fucking hustle and figure it out?
I think that I was self-taught. Like I really bootstrapped and self-taught myself a lot of things. Like whenever I would get feedback from a client, I was like, okay, I'm going to now learn everything there is to know about what they've given me feedback on so that I never get that feedback again. But that's really how you have to learn, is through just doing it and getting that feedback. And then also like my prices were super low, so I didn't feel super guilty about it, because I'm like, well, you're paying me like nothing. So, let's just have a little grace with me. Again, this was in 2017, 2018, 2019. So this was before other social media marketers were on there being like, I'll make you go viral. And I'm like, oh, that's just so not how it works. But I think that getting your business off the ground is a matter of who you know. So again, my business started because I knew someone who then saw their Instagram and wanted me to do their work. Genuinely, I do believe that networking is a huge part of getting your business off the ground. You can do it without that, but it's going to be harder. It's going to take longer, and you're not going to have the same doors open for you that you would if you just went to a networking group and like literally introduced yourself and talked about what you're good at.
Yeah. When did you start to see the biggest shift in your business? Because I feel like probably pre 2020, 2021, a lot of it was followers, engagement, community, connection. And I mean, obviously, as a business owner who cares about sales, most business owners now, I feel like when they're hiring social media manager, they're like, how much money can you give me? Like, I want to make money for my content that converts. I hear all the fucking time. And you start to see that pivot really happen for your clients and your business.
Yeah, I think ironically, this is why I am going to your retreat, is because the first huge leap in my business was I went to a retreat specifically for social media managers, and there was 10 of us in an Airbnb in Palm Springs. And like my roomie in there was doing the social media for Gatorade. Like it was crazy. Like I was in the room, as you say, like I was in the room and I was having these women tell me, like I'm getting goosebumps remembering it. Like I was having these women look at my work and be like, you should be charging triple. This is very, very good. And that gave me the confidence to increase my prices and shift the way that I was doing things. And I think this was in like 2019. I was shifting the way that I was doing things, and I was looking more towards being like strategic and getting clients, more ROI in like dollars than followers and things like that. So it was just all of that validation is really when things started to change. And I'm like a little bit slow to change. So it definitely was over the course of like, I would say probably like a year. Like it wasn't until 2020, 2021-ish that I think that shift really, really started, like COVID.
I think it's really interesting. I was talking to a business owner today who was like, I just need to like change my offering. I feel like my price point and my this and my that. And I'm like, of course. And I have so many opinions on this, but I really was talking to them about like, what is your goal with their offer? And they're like, I really want to be able to charge 2 or 3 times more. I hear this a lot with social media managers or business owners who are doing a lot of done for you. They're like, I want to really get a good like return back on this amount of time that I'm spending with the client. And a lot of the time, it has nothing to do with what's you're included, like how many posts you're doing, how many hours of engagement you're doing, or whatever's included in your offer. It's totally just solving bigger problems. And I think that unfortunately, and also fortunately, as business has gone from, you don't really have a lot of access to what businesses are doing. You purchase from them, you have awareness if you're a client or a customer, to now businesses are plastered all over social media. You see the ins and outs of their business. You get to know their founders. Like a lot of times people don't know who CEOs were unless you like were tied to the company or an investor of the company. I could probably name 100 different CEOs right now of businesses that I've never even bought from. The access you have to businesses are so different. And I think about so often, like when we're now trying to solve problems for businesses, like they're thinking at a quicker speed. They're thinking about different issues. It used to be like, I just want to be on social and have presence and have some awareness. Now businesses are looking for a majority of their revenue to come from organic social or even, paid ads. And that's a very different change. So do you feel like when you were kind of transitioning your business, you were prepared for that change? Do you feel like clients were coming to you with different expectations and you were having to meet them? Like what kind of challenges were you facing as the industry was shifting?
I don't think that was something that was as big even during that shift. And I'm honestly not seeing that hugely until just this last like year, if I'm honest. I think that has to do with who's been in my circle and who I've been speaking with and targeting. Like I feel like there's still a lot of businesses, a ton of businesses who are in that stage of like, I just want to be there. I want to be present. I want brand awareness. I want community. Like there are still clients who really do just want that. But the bigger clients that are looking for that ROI, in my experience right now, so far, seem to be businesses that also have like a teeny tiny budget. So it's kind of like, that's what I'm seeing in the industry is like a really huge rise of expectations, but no rise, like budget rise. And I'm like, that is just really not how it works. So I think what I would want business owners to know is like, those results are possible, but you do have to, it's a bigger investment. It's literally a bigger investment. If you want paid ads, if you want a content shoot, if you want an in-depth strategy and like monthly strategy sessions where that's all being worked out, that is all going to lead to success, but it's going to cost more. The expectations, it's not unreasonable to have those expectations because it's being done, but it's being done because people are pumping thousands and thousands of dollars into it per month.
Right. And it's really interesting because, again, businesses used to have to spend a fuck ton of money on like a TV ad, all this stuff. And I think for some reason with social media, first of all, the reach and the impact can be sometimes better, if not just as good as what those other media platforms have done for businesses in the past. But I do agree. I think a lot of businesses really struggle with allocating budget towards social. Obviously, more innovative companies have been pumping into it. They understood they were ahead of the curve. But the average, business owner who's now just like, shit, I should have gotten on the social wagon. I agree. I don't think they really understand what the expectation should be around social, the ROI, how much energy or financial allocation needs to go towards that. So obviously, I know you work with a lot of different clients and a lot of price points and a lot of different ranges, a lot of different expectations. But if someone was a mid-sized, large business trying to grow, trying to, scale very quickly, and they're like, I really want social to be a dominant platform for bringing in new leads, like what type of expectation should they have? How long does that take? What type of budget should they be looking for? Do you believe ads are better than organic? Do you believe that there's multiple platforms they should be on? I know that that's a lot of different questions kind of rolled into one, but yeah, I'm curious kind of what you would say, like if someone was coming and they're like, I just kind of want to know even like what I should be considering right now. What would be those like top items that they should be thinking about?
Yeah, so there's a few things. Ads are, in my opinion and expertise, for sales. Like, I really do believe that ads drive sales, but your organic is also important because it nurtures. It builds that authentic community. It makes people feel seen, heard, understood, and connected to you. They are both important and they both play a role if you are looking for fast, impactful results. If you are okay with waiting longer, then organic is just fine. You don't have to do ads,
Yeah.
but it is going to take longer. Social media is pay to play. And then the other thing that they need to be focusing on is content creation. Like 3,500 a month for social media is not unreasonable if it includes content creation, because content is king. And if you can do like a quarterly photo shoot and then a quarterly huge content day, your entire presence on social media will completely shift. Then the third part of that is you have to have a strategy behind both of those things, guiding them so that you're not just going in there being like, okay, well, what should we shoot? Like, what should we be filming? Or what do we want to do with our ad? Like, what's the point of this? What are we trying to sell? Is our funnel set up on the back end? All of those things need to have a strategy behind them. But if you're looking for that impact, if you're looking for that growth, then you should be doing quarterly photo shoots, quarterly content creation sessions. You should be looking at ads, and you should have a strategy to back it all up. And that at this point in the market is running for about 3,500 a month. My 3,500 a month package includes ads. Most of the packages that are 3,500 a month do not actually include ads. It's normally just that strategy and the content creation piece.
Okay, cool. I actually am like writing this down because I'm like, I really want to talk about each one of them. So, ads, I'm curious for you because I think ads means a lot of different things to different people. And I know it can obviously depending on the business and the business owner, but I'm an organic social girl. Now, I definitely played the volume game. I hustle. It was a very different game. And I have always been like a lean bitch, not like necessarily physically, but like in the way that I spend my money, unless it's about shoes or something. And like I did run it that way. And I will agree with you as much as I love organic social. And I think I could go down a whole tangent of how people are like, it's so scammy when people do cold outreach and this. And I'm like, first of all, that's how most businesses grow. I don't know where this like online space, weird bubble that I live in, where people are like, all this stuff is so scammy, or ads are like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, a lot of people use ads. A lot of people do cold outreach. A lot of people do all this stuff. But from an ad specific, do you believe all business owners should be running ads? And we touched on that a little bit, but like, do all business owners run ads? Do you believe the ads have a specific purpose? Do you believe if a specific business is operating or structured in a specific way, they should be utilizing ads? Like, when do ads come into play? Does it completely depend? Like, do you believe that certain industries do better with ads? What type of platforms are, ads performing better on? Like, what type of content works better with ads? Give us a little insight on ads, because obviously I am not an ads expert, and I actually think you have a lot of knowledge on ads. I learn from you every day on ads. So I'm happy to bring this to the podcast now.
I really, really am a big fan of ads. So ads, industry specific, perform very, very well for industries where like someone wouldn't just naturally see a post and be like, oh, like I might want that. So I'm talking like construction companies, plumbers, I'm talking blue collar type of industries, lawyers, insurance. Boring industries do really well with ads because you can target them to people who are clearly looking for those kinds of services. If you're just pumping out ads as that kind of business, like that is not a sexy business. That's not like an alluring business. You kind of want to do ads so that you're specifically targeting people who are looking for those things. So those industries do really, really well with ads, better than organic. Now, all the other industries I actually do think can do just as well with organic. However, it's more effort and it's more time. So that's just the important thing to keep in mind. I do believe that if you are looking for faster growth, ads are always going to be the way to go. Another thing that I love about ads is that you can learn so much from ads. This is why I'm a strategy girly, because people never look at their analytics. And I'm like, I would pay, like, the market research that I get just from running ads is huge and is worth it to me, even if I don't get a ton of like leads or conversions, which normally isn't the case. But if I didn't, I would be okay with it because I learn so much. So it's like, okay, I put out all these different ads that are kind of going to the same place, but I'm presenting them differently. Maybe one's a carousel, maybe one's a reel, maybe one is like a B-roll reel with text, maybe one is a reel of me talking. I'll do like an image with a lot of copy on it, all these different ways. And then I can literally see what my audience is responding to. Meta gathers all this data on these people, and then you can look and say, what's the age demographic that's responding to this? What is the city that is like getting the most targeted? And like, what does that mean? So it's just a really big learning tool and a market research tool that, people pay, same thing, people will pay a lot of money for market research, and they'll pay a lot of money for, like, not study groups. What are they called?
Oh yeah. It's not cohort. I know what you're talking about.
The test people.
Yeah, yeah. The test people.
So those people, those are expensive to run. People will do these things, but then they like won't put, $500 into ads to get those answers really clearly and really quickly. There's also like retargeting with ads. So, people who have expressed an interest in your content before will be targeted with ads and so much more likely to respond to them. So, and ads are like, have been so complicated for people. They are not hard to set up. Like, they're really, really not. Facebook and Meta has made it actually quite easy. Just turn on all the automatic things and Facebook will kind of do the rest for you. There's a lot more to it than that. Yeah. In terms of like strategy. But if you're just doing it on your own and you're like, holy moly, this is very confusing, where do I even start? Follow the prompts that pop up after you click create an ad. Like, just follow what Meta tells you to do.
Yeah. Kind of pivoting away from ads on the content creation side, because I feel like the reason that you love ads is you're like, look, you're going to have to put out a fuck ton of content, a fuck ton of consistency. And transparently, a lot of business owners really struggle with time management. I've learned that a lot of business owners, you said it earlier, they focus on the logos and the website and all this structural shit. I hate that. You have to focus on momentum. Are you getting in front of new people? Do you know how to fucking sell? Do you have a place to put them? It's all businesses. It is literally getting in front of people, selling them something and supporting them and giving them that service. And I think people overcomplicate it with all the other things, and ads kind of expedites the impact of the getting in front of people stuff. So totally understand that. But then the other objection that I get, if people don't want to run ads, it's like content creation and like, how do I create so much content and volume? And, I have a lot of thoughts on that as well. But you mentioned earlier, like quarterly planning sessions where you're kind of coming together and doing batch filming content. Like, what should business owners, what type of content that should be creating? Do they do that on their own? They can hire an agency to do it, but like, what should they be doing in those sessions? Because I think a lot of people actually have a fuck ton of content, but they don't think it's good, or they just like completely don't even know where to start, and then they don't do it at all. It's like those people fall into two different buckets. They have a fuck ton of content, don't know how to use it, or they're like, what is content? Like, and they don't understand that I think everything is content, but like, what's your perspective on what is content these days? Like, what should business owners be filming, collecting, doing consistently to kind of build up their bank of resources to use?
Yeah, so behind the scenes stuff, always, like, just on a daily basis, whatever you're literally just doing throughout the day is great. I am a huge fan of B-roll. Like, B-roll is amazing to me because you can do so much with B-roll. You can montage it, which is just basically putting a bunch of videos together with, an inspiring audio over top. Like, that's a great reel right there. You can do one single clip with text over top that talks about a certain subject. A lot of the trends that we've been seeing lately have been B-roll with like impactful text on it. So B-roll is great. And when I say B-roll, that's like you drinking your coffee. That's you typing on your computer. That's you like going for a walk. That's, a shot of your store. That's like all of those different kinds of things. And if you can condense that into getting all of that in one full day along with a professional photo shoot. So have a content creator there, have a professional photographer there, get that in one day, then you don't have to worry about it as much on the day to day. You do for your Instagram stories, you should be doing that on your Instagram stories. But if you can do that in one day, because I know for me, like I compartmentalize in my head. So it's easier for someone with my brain to just put it in one day, do it, and then like reuse that forever. Content creation, do it on a quarterly basis, have a professional photographer there, have a content creator there if you can. If you can't, get a friend, a family member. I had a client recently do this. She literally she did a professional photo shoot and she got her friend to come and just take 1,000,000 videos with her phone. It doesn't have to be complicated. You just have to have it. And then with the editing tools that we have now, like Canva, CapCut, all this stuff, use templates, you can create stuff that's really, really cool and looks really good and is really impactful. You just kind of have to you just have to do it. Like, I'm sorry, you just have to do it. You just have to kind of get over it. And this other thing where people are like, oh, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, just put it out there because no one is paying as much attention to your content as you are. Like, no one's looking at it and being like, oh my gosh, I don't actually like this person. I'm not going to work with them because there's like this one little flaw in this video. Like, it just doesn't work like that.
Yeah. What would you say to the people who I hear a lot of the times, and this might be again, the world of like business coaching where people are thinking about like, elevating their brands, raising their price points. And they're like, I need to be more premium. I can't just be sitting in my sweats with my hair up filming. Like, I have to have my hair done. I have to look professional. And then I think there are a lot of people that go very premium. Like, they're always in a suit. That was a lot of my branding up until recently. Like, should they do a balance of that? Do you feel like people want to see more raw and authentic? What trends are you seeing when people are filming? Because I think a lot of people then think expensive, really premium suit photo shoot. But then a lot of other people are like, no, the best content that is performing is the in the moment, the casual, the real. And then also if someone's not the founder, like what type of content should they be putting if they're not the face of the brand? Or do you believe that everyone should in some way have a face to a brand?
I have so many thoughts on this. So
that's why I was like excited to ask you.
I do believe that there is a balance between like you are being your natural self and then like you're being unprofessional. And I'm sorry, like I do think that I don't want to work with someone who is presenting as unprofessional. Like I just don't. And that doesn't mean wear a suit. Like what we perceive as professional is very different now. So it's not like, if someone's wearing like sweatpants, I don't really care. Like, it's not that. It's like if they're coming on and they're like crying because they don't have any clients, or they're like, or when people like almost rag on their clients, that to me is so off-putting. And like,
you're like really saying professionalism, like having etiquette, not necessarily
etiquette.
A look. Yes.
Etiquette is a great word for it because I'm just like, in my mind, like I don't want to work with someone who's going on and like venting about their clients because I'm like, well, what if I'm not like the perfect client? Like, I just don't think that that is like social media is not the place to vent for your clients. And I think that that has gotten really blurry for people because everyone's like, be real. And like, that's a real part of business. Like clients can be annoying and customers can be annoying, but like, you don't go on and like rant about them. I just don't. So for me, that's a really big one. I don't think it matters if you're in sweatpants. It doesn't matter if your hair and makeup's done. Like, try and be like presentable, but you don't have to be perfect. There is like no world in which you have to be perfect, especially not for your Instagram stories. Like Instagram stories, just get on there and talk and be active and like take pictures of your freaking coffee and then write like your daily thought even. Like, it does not have to be super curated and perfect. Like I started social media in the days of like the pretty pink stock photos. Like I was there and like, yes, that was 100 times easier, but it also just was like so boring. It was so completely boring and it led to like no connection and no engagement and no community. So don't think that you have to be polished. You just have to be like kind, I think is maybe a good word.
Do people go both? Should premium brands stay in premium? How do they balance like the raw, real content with the super curated? Because I think, again, when people think like go get content, they're like, I need to do a content shoot. And I know a lot of business owners, and me, I'm like, don't spend unnecessary money in your early parts of your business. I know business owners who have scaled, including myself, $2 million, never doing a content shoot. Like all of my content was me just talking and filming. So like, do you think that that should be an investment early on? Do you think brands should do more authentic content? And then as they scale, like, do you have any thought process for people who are like, should I invest in this right now? Or should I just invest time in it, not necessarily dollars to have this professional photo shoot done?
I think doing time, so a professional photo shoot, I actually do think you should do right off the bat. Like for sure, I think a professional photo shoot needs to be done. A content creation session, you can like block out a time in your day, make your space look professional or like just again presentable. Film yourself typing, film yourself creating if you're a creator, like film yourself going for a walk, film yourself, like that's fine. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Once you have a little bit of that cash flow, then you can invest in a content creation session. I do think there's like a lot of benefit to it. And I do think it makes you look more professional. And it does make me want to invest in you more. Like if I see that you care about that. And the days of like the classically pretty content are gone, like the old stock photos and stuff. But as human beings, we are still attracted to what is attractive and what is like pretty and professional and trending and cool. Like we are still drawn to that. So I do think unless you're building like a personal brand or a brand where like the brand isn't meant to be super professional or it's meant to be very like based on the founder and their life or it's meant to be about the team and the people, like if that's your vibe, then that's different. But I think for a lot of businesses, especially service based, having that B-roll footage of you being professional and cool and trendy and on brand in your space, it is going to perform better if it's used properly. You know, like if you're just uploading like a boring video, no one cares about that. But if you're putting, you know, the right caption, the right hook, the right text, the right strategy behind it, then I do think it would perform better.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the strategy because people use that word a lot. I feel like it's just like one of those buzzwords that we use in business, like, oh, I hired them for strategy or I'm looking for the right strategy. And I'm like, I don't really think a lot of people know what they're talking about when they say strategy. But with a marketing strategy, I think that 20,000 different people are all going to say the exact, complete different thing on what that actually means. What does marketing strategy mean to you? What like elements are included in that? What are you looking at? What should people be considering? Give us that rundown because I would love to know your perspective because I think that there's a lot of different perspectives on what that word actually means these days.
Yeah. So a way that you can think about it is brand is what you're saying, and then marketing strategy is like how you're saying it.
Mm-hmm.
So if I say to you, like, oh my gosh, you look really pretty today, that's very different than me being like, yeah, you look pretty today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I'm saying the same thing, but the way that I'm saying it is very different. So
Mm-hmm.
that is essentially social media strategy marketing. So that's what I do. So it's ideal that a person comes to me or goes to an agency with a brand already kind of like worked out. And again, that doesn't mean you're obsessing over logo and, you know, color palette and all those things, but like, what do you want to say? Like you need to kind of know what you want to say. And you also need to know who you're saying it to, because a huge part of our strategies are based off of your target audience. A lot of business owners get really swept up in like, what do I like? What do I want to say? What do I think makes sense? And then they completely forget that it's actually not about you. It's actually completely about who you're speaking to and what is going to resonate with them. What are the problems in their life? What are the solutions that they need? How do they respond to certain types of content? That is really the important thing. So like, you know, for example, if you're targeting women who are like 50 plus because you're marketing like anti-aging stuff, you might not want to be super active on Instagram. You might want to be more posting videos on Facebook. Like it's very, very different. So I think it's like the way that you're saying something needs to be based off who you're saying it to. And then what you're saying is like really where you have all your power and you're like, hey, this is what fires me up and this is what I want to say and this is what I want to give to the world. And we take that and say, okay, based on that and who you're talking to, this is what's going to resonate most with them and this is how we should do it. And then we also just infuse like industry best practices in there. So like, you know, keeping up with Instagram and what's going on in the platform. Carousels are really big right now with trending audio. That wasn't a thing like a year ago and now it is. So like, again, that's the way that we're saying it though. That's not what we're saying. The strategy for us is really about getting to know the brand and then putting all of the knowledge that they have and what they want to say and who they're saying it to into a structure of we are going to do this in a way that guides the customer through the buyer's journey. We're going to do it in a way that actually aligns with your business goals. So normally businesses have 3 primary goals when they're on social media, and that's brand awareness, conversions, and building a community. So community amplification. We create all of our strategies based off of those 3 goals. And then we kind of just like go up and up. The way I would describe it is almost like a tree. And I know everyone's like, pillars are dead. Pillars are not dead. You're just rebranding them. Like literally, pillars are not dead. So all a pillar is like what you want to say, the core part of what you want to say. So we find 3 core pillars. And then within those 3 pillars, we have 3 sub pillars that speak and empower the main message. And then for each sub pillar, we do a carousel post and we do a reel post for brand awareness, community amplification, and conversion. And we do that for all 3 pillars. And if you do that, you end up with like 60 pieces of content that you can repurpose and reuse over and over again. Just tweak like the image, maybe tweak a few words, maybe tweak like, you know, the audio that you're using. You have 60 posts then that you can kind of just reuse on repeat. Then like fill the blanks in with like your promotional content that's like time specific or like holiday content. And then with that, you should have like 3 months worth of content that you can kind of just have on repeat.
Like almost every quarter, like people are like, you always have so much content going on. Like about every 3 months, my content literally just duplicates itself. And things that don't work, we like pull out, but we have very similar approaches. Obviously, a couple of different lenses and a couple of different like tactical things are different from a strategic standpoint. And obviously, my background is not actually marketing, it's sales. So I come from like a very high conversion standpoint, which some people like, some people don't. But as you were talking, one of the things that you said that really like resonated or kind of stood out to me is you talked about one of the biggest mistakes that people make is they make their content about themselves and not about the audience. And honestly,
which I've done, which you literally just called me out for that. So I'm like, yeah, like so many, like I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask you is like, how do we create trust by making people feel like they get, especially if you are, again, the brand founder. We do it all. I do that shit all the time. I was called out for it a month ago too. I was like, all my content is literally just me being like, I'm so fucking good at sales. I'm going to help you make other oh my God, get the fucking stick out of my asshole. But how do we create trust and get people to know us, but also not make content about us? Like, what is that formula? What's that? Any tips do you have into that? Because I think a lot of people get really stuck on that of like, how do I build trust? But like, I don't want to make it all about me.
What builds trust is making someone feel seen, heard, and understood.
Mm-hmm.
Trust is not like, okay, now you know me, and so you trust me, right? Because you know all these things about me. Trust is I see you, I hear you, I understand you, and I get it. And this is how and why I get it. It's really not about like, okay, you know me, now you trust me. It's making them feel a certain way.
Yeah. I couldn't have fucking said it better. I was literally like thinking in my head as you were talking, I was like, so you feel seen, heard, and understood. Like literally, I think we say the same thing there. And so if someone then was like, I'm really struggling with doing that, are there any tips or tricks that you would give for people who are really struggling to resonate with the audience and make their audience feel seen and heard? Because again, I think people think that like marketing is just sharing information and sharing ideas and sharing thoughts. And I really think it's like almost, in my opinion, with marketing, when you're very, very good at it, it's like there's this like glass wall. It's like the wall of your phone. And you like pierce through it to bring your audience in. Like a lot of people, I think, shove information. This is more of a rant, but like they like shove shit on their audience and then their audience kind of pushes back because it's heavy. It's coming at them. I think the best marketers like bring them into the experience. Do you have any like tips or ideas or things that you can share about like how people can do that better or things that have worked really well for your clients that have created that experience and allowed people to feel really connected to the businesses and the brands that you're representing?
I was actually listening to a podcast, The Diary of the CEO. I do listen to, that's a huge one. That's a really good one.
So good. Yes.
I do really like that one. So I was listening to that one and I can't remember who his guest was, but he talked about leaving people with an essence. What he meant by that was leaving them with a feeling. So like, say all your information, do what you got to do, but at the end, you should leave them with a feeling. And again, that's your brand. Like, what do you want to leave people feeling? What do you want to say? And you can do that. The best way to do that is through storytelling. Tell a story of a success story of your client, tell a story that happened to you that you know someone is going to be like, oh my God, that happened to me too. And I felt the exact same way. Tell a rags to riches story. Tell a story. And if you're like, how do I turn this into a story? How do I turn a lash lift into a story? What do your clients say to you all the time? I actually said this yesterday on Sasha's podcast. People will engage with their clients, but not really listen and not take the information that they're being given and use it as like the gold that it is. When you are talking to clients, what are the things that they repeatedly say that they struggle with? What are the stories they are repeatedly telling you or telling themselves about their situation, whether that has to do with a product or service? Pay attention and then turn that into content. And if you're like, I don't know how to turn that into content, use ChatGPT. Like, if you're not going to hire an agency to do it for you on like a really beautiful scale, use ChatGPT. Plug all these things, who your target audience is, what you want to say, what your product or service is, and the stories that you hear all the time, every day. Plug it into ChatGPT and say, turn this into a story that I can use for Instagram content that's going to make my audience trust me and feel seen, heard, and understood.
Oh, love. It's so freaking good. On that note, then, if you were going to be leaving us with something that's going to make us feel seen, heard, understand, obviously we have a lot of incredible women, work with a lot of business owners who listen and they like think about marketing, and it's just this fucking uphill battle for people. Like, marketing feels so heavy. What would you like to leave everyone with as far as a story, something that you can share, insight, wisdom, something to make our audience get really excited about content and marketing again?
Honestly, it's that quote that I said at the beginning. If you just stay in the game, and inevitably you will succeed. You will. People will drop off. People get burnt out in this industry. And by this industry, I mean social media. So that includes people who are on social media. People get burnt out. It's about a 4-year turnover. So every 4 years, a ton of people are dropping off and burning out. Keep yourself taken care of and filled up so that you don't burn out, and then you can stay in the game and you will literally win. You will win. And I'm not a huge fan of like throwing spaghetti at the wall randomly, but you can throw spaghetti at the wall strategically. Put content out there that you have a reason for believing it would do well, and then do that for 3 months and then study it, see what worked the best, find the common traits of what worked the best, and then triple down on that content. And then wash, rinse, repeat.
Love it. Couldn't have said any better. Okay, the last question I have for you, because we try to ask all of our guests, is what is something you are indulging on right now? It can be anything, something you love to read, write, absorb.
I think that what I'm indulging on, one of my clients is a patisserie here in town, and they have like, every time I do their content, I'm like, okay, well, now I have to go and buy like 60 croissants. So they have this like fruit Danish that I'm obsessed with, and I've been indulging in that. I've also been like honestly indulging in like my Amazon shopping addiction a little bit, because we just bought a house and we just moved in, and I'm like, I need this. It is non-optional. So I've been indulging in Amazon a little bit.
Do you know the year that I bought my house? I looked at how much I spent on Amazon. Do you want to guess the number?
What was it? 10, 20, 30, 40, 100?
$42,000 I spent.
Honestly, I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised. Moving is so expensive. Getting a new house is so freaking expensive, and it's worth it. I feel so blessed and so grateful, and I love my home, but it's a process.
It's a process. Well, if anyone was going to connect with you and wants to learn more about working with you, just is inspired by this podcast, wants to get some insights from you, how can they find you? How can they connect with you?
So the best way to connect with me is on Instagram. That's mainly where I hang out, and that's at Linden Co Social, LINDENCO Social. And I mean, they could also email me, alaysha.lindenco@gmail.com. But truly, the best way to connect with me is on Instagram. I'm on there every day, all day. So
the Instagram girlies. Well, I'm so happy you come on the podcast. Thank you for all the insight. I was literally like taking a couple notes, and you know I love the marketing shit.
Thanks, Ashley. This was wonderful. Thank you.
Of course. Talk to you soon.